Hey everybody, welcome back to Hoffman Reproductions. Thank you for tuning in with us again today. As you can see, the sun is shining here. Even though the snow remains, it is in the 40s today, so I thought it'd be a good opportunity to get our shooting video in here. So I am all ready to go with all my accoutrements and my rifle. One thing I would recommend when filling your powder horn to go out shooting, invest in a small kitchen funnel. You could put it over the opening of your powder horn, and that makes filling from a can or any type of the container that you're using very easy to fill up the horn. With muzzle loading, it's the same exact thing as with modern firearms. You need to observe all the safety rules. They can kill and injure just as easily as any modern firearm, so practice firearm safety, and also make sure that you wipe out the bore of your gun with a cleaning jag on your ramrod and a clean shooting patch or cleaning patch to remove any oils. If it's damp or humid, you might want to fire just a priming load out of your lock or a few caps and a percussion gun. But other than that, we're all ready to go. I'm going to hold the gun up to the camera here in a minute and show you real quick the installation of a flint. So we'll go ahead and do that next, and then get on to the loading and shooting. Okay, you can see my lock here and the flint installed. You're either going to want to install it bevel up or bevel down. Each gun is different, so you'll have to experiment and see which works best. As far as the distance, I go for about 1/8 of an inch gap. That way the frizzen can shut easily, and that opens the frizzen properly. I like to use leather in the jaws. That holds it nice and tight. So before you begin shooting, place your gun on half cock, close the frizzen, full cock it, and this is kind of one of those things you need 3 hands to do. Gently lower it onto the face of the frizzen and adjust the flint so that it squarely contacts the frizzen with no gaps. That will aid in giving you the best spark and performance out of your flintlock. And once you have it into position, half cock the gun and firmly screw the jaw down tight. If it is loose, the flint will move around and you will lose a lot of energy when it comes to the sparking of your lock. So with that done, we're ready to load up and begin shooting. Alright, so to begin loading the flintlock, make sure with any muzzle-loading gun the barrel is not directly facing your face, just in case there would be a flash of the powder. You're safe that way, but a couple different ways you can hold it. You can hold it to the side like so. You can hold it out in front of you and use your legs to steady it. But plug comes out of the powder horn. We fill our charger up, and I am using about 65 grains of our homemade black powder. Again, face away from the muzzle, down it goes. I'm going to be using a loading block. It's debatable whether these were used a lot during the 18th century, but I'm not at any type of a reenactment or living history event, so it saves. This is just a patched round ball. Also on the patch, it is greased. Remember, we talked about that before. And grease or lube on patching is important for several different reasons. It keeps the gun easy to load. It keeps the fouling soft so it doesn't build up and makes driving the ball down difficult. It also protects the patch, which is important for optimal accuracy. So there's a lot of different patch lubes you can use. There's homemade ones all over the internet, or you can buy several good quality ones, but important to have some sort of lubrication on your patching. This is a homemade mix that I use, and it works well. So to put over the muzzle, you simply center the ball, well, withdraw the ramrod, center the ball, and push it on down. Couple of good firm taps on the powder. You don't want any air gaps with black powder, so make sure the load is all the way rammed down. I don't like to use a load that's so tight I have to use a range rod. I prefer to use the ramrod, so that's the tightness that I like. You can experiment making your ball a larger diameter or your patching thicker or thinner. It's one of the fun things about muzzle loading, but I don't like a super tight combo so that I can load with the rod. Also, you notice I do not use a short starter. It is debatable whether they existed in the 18th century. It's thought that they weren't used that much. This barrel has been coned which basically what that means is the last several inches of this gun have been gently funneled with a coning tool, eliminating the need for a short starter. So it makes loading very easy. So with the gun pointed in a safe direction, it's brought up to half cock. Depending on the gun, if a flintlock, you may want to use priming powder. If you're using 3F in your main horn, that will work fine. Make sure your plug is back in your powder horn. A little bit of priming. Now, it's popular to just put a pinch of priming powder in. I like to take full advantage of the pan and fill it completely. Now you want to make sure that you don't bury the flash hole, because the powder has to burn through that until it can ignite the main charge. But if you have a nice wide pan, fill up that pan with powder, because that's going to increase your chances of detonation, which is important with a flintlock. Also, you don't want to pull off of your target after pulling the trigger instantly and see where you've shot. That's a bad habit to form with a flintlock. Just in case there would be a delay, if you hold on target, then you're going to hit what you're aiming at. So we'll go ahead and go for the large milk jug that's out there at about 35 yards and see if we can hit it. It looks like I nipped the handle of it, so a little bit farther to the left and we'd hit it squarely, but we'll go ahead and load back up and show another shot. One thing that I do, and it's a good habit, is get a cleaning patch, get it wet with a little spit. Not soaking wet, just a little. Wipe the face of your frizzen and the bottom of your flint. That'll help keep the gun sparking good and keep the fouling off of there. So we'll go ahead and load up for another shot. Always make sure to put the plug back in. Muzzle away from your face. I'll be demonstrating a couple other different ways that you can load the gun if you're not using a loading block. However, using one obviously speeds up the loading process. Go for the half-gallon jug there in the trees, if you can see that, in the fork of the tree. Alright, right on the money. We'll load up for shot number 3. Alright, so another method some guys use and prefer to load with, I don't, because personally for me I find it more cumbersome, but some do, is to take the patching and affix it to the bag of your shooting strap. A little bit of grease is still on there. Take out a round ball from the ball bag, center it on the muzzle. And if you cast your own round balls, you'll have a little casting spur. Make sure that is sticking up. If it goes to the side, it can make it so you can't even get your gun loaded. It's too tight. So that's pressed down in there. Pocket knife retrieved, or a knife off of a shooting bag. Patch is trimmed away. And then rammed down. Again, not my preferred method because it's extra work, I find, but some do prefer that method for various reasons. And I apologize about the wind noise if it's coming across on the video. It's kind of gusty out today. Alright, we'll go for that milk jug again. There we go, water gushing out the back. So we'll talk just a minute about flint knapping. Eventually, your flint is going to get dull. You're going to need to sharpen it. It's a process called knapping. You can do it with a lot of different things. I have this little combination tool that has a little hammer on it. You can use the back of a hunting knife, tomahawk. There's fancy little flint knapping tools you can get, but basically you're just putting a new edge on that flint. If the gun fails to ignite the priming charge, probably it needs to be resharpened or knapped. How many shots you're going to get depends entirely on the flint. I've had flints where I've got 50 shots out of one before re-knapping. I've had flints where I've only gotten maybe a dozen and had to re-knap, and everything in between. So it just depends. But to do it, you just stick it on half cock and gently tap the edge, and you'll see little pieces knocking off, and that's resharpening your flint. Some folks feel that you shouldn't leave it on half cock when doing this, because striking that at half cock, you're putting pressure and stress on the tumbler. I've never personally seen a tumbler break doing that, but some do feel you should lower it down and holding it with one hand, do your knapping that away. It's kind of difficult, and again, I've never actually seen a tumbler broken, but you may need to occasionally sharpen your flint, and that is how you do it. So we'll get loaded up again for another method of loading the round ball. Okay, for another method of loading, let's say you're carrying everything in your pouch, you don't have a loading block. I will go ahead and charge the gun with powder. You can take a piece of pre-cut patching and place it in your mouth, and spit or saliva works great as a patch lube. It protects it reasonably well. One thing you can do is retrieve your patches that you fired, and if there are no burnt or char marks that have gone through, it's a good sign that the lube you're using is protecting the patch. But spit works great as long as you're not out hunting. If you're going to have the gun loaded for a prolonged period of time, spit can dampen your powder charge. But for target shooting, works really good. Just throw it in your mouth. It's not my preferred method, again, because you can get fibers of the stuff in your mouth. Round ball comes out. Remove the patch. Spit out those pesky fibers. Again, making sure that the casting spur is facing up. Center it on there. Push her on down. Okay, we've got another little half-gallon jug out there. We'll try and get that. I pulled that one a bit, shot in front of it. Oh well, he lived today. Alright, so there is a long distance target out there, about 50 some yards. I'm going to try and go for that with this shot. Alright, we got it. Right on the money. Okay, so we got one target left, one ball left in our block, so naturally we have to go ahead and shoot one more time and try and get that last target. So powder is down. Alright, that shot got him. We had to end on a high note. Alright everybody, so that's going to do it for today's video. Thank you for tuning in with us again. On our next video we're going to cover the cleaning of the gun and the little various things that I do to accomplish that process. And then also in an upcoming video we are going to be testing 3, possibly 4 different types of homemade black powder on a conogram. So we're going to get real scientific data and see just what is our feet per second, which one is burning the cleanest. And the 4th powder possibly will unlock the secret as to why Swiss black powder is so clean. I believe I'm on the trail of that. So that is going to be on our next couple of videos that are coming up. So once again, thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll see you all again real soon.